My name is Robert, and I'm a 52-year-old construction contractor who worked his entire life to build something for his family. 3 weeks ago, I discovered that my own daughter had stolen $50,000 from me. Let me start from the beginning, because what happened to me could happen to any parent watching this right now. My daughter Emma is 25 years old. I raised her as a single father after her mother walked out when she was just 7. I worked double shifts, missed sleep, sacrificed everything to make sure she had every opportunity I never had growing up. I put her through college, helped her with her first apartment, and when she graduated with a business degree, I was the proudest father in that auditorium. For the past 2 years, Emma had been living in Los Angeles, supposedly working for a marketing agency. She would call me every Sunday, tell me about her job, her apartment, her friends. Everything seemed normal. She even visited me last Christmas, and we had the best time we'd had in years. She hugged me goodbye and said I was the best dad in the world. 3 weeks ago, I got a call from my bank. The automated system was telling me my credit card had been declined at a grocery store. That was weird because I always keep track of my finances. I'm a contractor. Cash flow is everything in my business, so I called the bank directly. The customer service representative told me something that made my blood run cold. My credit card had a balance of $18,000. $18,000 of charges I never made, all from Los Angeles, all in the past 6 months. I'm sitting there in my truck, parked outside a job site, and I can barely process what she's telling me. Luxury hotels, expensive restaurants, designer clothing stores, high-end electronics, thousands and thousands of dollars spent on a lifestyle I could never afford. But here's the thing that really got me. The billing address for the card had been changed to Emma's address in Los Angeles. My own daughter had not only been using my credit card, she had made sure I wouldn't get the bills. I called Emma immediately. It went straight to voicemail. I tried again. Same thing. I sent her a text message asking her to call me urgently about something important. She read it. I could see she read it, but no response. That's when I started digging deeper. I logged into all my accounts that night. My savings account, the one I'd been building for 20 years to maybe retire someday, had been completely drained. $28,000. Gone. Transferred electronically to an account I didn't recognize. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through the transaction history. The transfers had been happening gradually over 8 months. 500 here, 1,000 there, then bigger amounts. 3,000, 5,000. She had been systematically stealing from me for almost a year. But wait, it gets worse. Much worse. I checked my business account, the one for my construction company. Another $4,000 missing. She had somehow gained access to that account too. This wasn't just stealing from her father anymore. This was stealing from my employees, from the guys who depend on me for their paychecks. I tried calling Emma again. This time, the call didn't even ring. It went straight to a message saying the number was no longer in service. She had changed her phone number. I jumped in my truck and drove to Los Angeles that same night. It's a 4-hour drive from where I live, but I didn't care. I needed answers. I needed to look my daughter in the eye and hear her explain how she could do this to me. When I got to her apartment building, the security guard told me Emma had moved out 2 weeks earlier. No forwarding address. The apartment was empty. I stood in that empty apartment, looking at the place where my daughter had been living off my stolen money, and I felt something break inside me. This wasn't just about the money anymore. This was about 25 years of love, sacrifice, and trust that she had thrown away like garbage. I tried to find her through social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's when I discovered she had blocked me on everything. Not just blocked me, but blocked me months ago. While she was still calling me every Sunday, pretending to be my loving daughter, she had already cut me out of her digital life. I hired a private investigator. Best $300 I ever spent, because what he found out changed everything. Emma wasn't just stealing from me, she had been living a complete lie. The marketing agency she supposedly worked for, never heard of her. The business degree I thought she had earned, she dropped out junior year. I had been sending her money for school for 2 years after she quit. But here's the real kicker. The private investigator found her new address. She was living in a luxury condo in Beverly Hills, driving a brand new BMW, and posting pictures on social media accounts I couldn't see, showing off a lifestyle funded entirely by my stolen money. The investigator showed me the photos. My daughter, the girl I raised to be honest and hardworking, was living like a millionaire on money she stole from her own father. Designer handbags that cost more than most people make in a month. Dinners at restaurants where a single meal costs what I spend on groceries in a week. And in every single photo, she looked happy. Not guilty, not ashamed, happy. That's when I realized something had to be done. The police told me that because she was family and had access to my accounts, proving theft would be almost impossible. The bank said since the transactions appeared legitimate and came from someone who knew my personal information, they couldn't reverse them. Everyone kept telling me to try to work it out with her directly, as if I hadn't already tried that. As if she hadn't already made it clear that she wanted nothing to do with me now that my bank accounts were empty. I sat in my truck outside her Beverly Hills condo for 3 hours, watching her come and go like she didn't have a care in the world. She walked out wearing clothes that cost more than some people's rent, got into a car that I paid for without knowing it, and drove off to whatever expensive adventure my stolen money would buy her that day. That's when I decided that if the legal system couldn't help me, I would have to help myself. I went home that night and did something I never thought I would do. I started planning how to destroy my own daughter's life. Not physically, not violently, but systematically and completely. See, here's what Emma didn't know about her old man. I've been in construction for 30 years. I know how to plan, how to execute, and how to solve problems that seem impossible. And my daughter had just become the biggest problem I'd ever faced. The first thing I did was gather intelligence. I needed to know exactly how she was living, who she was with, and most importantly, how she was explaining her sudden wealth to everyone around her. The private investigator was worth every penny because he gave me a complete picture. Emma was telling people she had started her own successful digital marketing company. She was posting fake client testimonials, fake business meetings, even fake office photos. She had built an entire persona around being this young, successful entrepreneur. Her new friends, her boyfriend, everyone in her life believed she was self-made. But I knew the truth. Every dollar of her success story was stolen from me. The investigator also found out something interesting. Emma was behind on rent at that luxury condo. She owed almost $6,000 and had been served an eviction notice. My money was running out faster than she thought. That gave me an idea. I opened a new bank account under my business name and transferred some money from my emergency fund. Then I created a fake identity. Not illegal, just a business persona. I became Marcus Richardson, CEO of Richardson Capital, a venture capital firm looking to invest in promising young marketing companies. I had business cards made, a professional website built, even got a virtual office address in downtown Los Angeles. The whole setup cost me about $2,000, but it was going to be worth every penny. Then I reached out to Emma through her fake business website. I told her I had heard about her company through industry connections and was interested in discussing a potential investment opportunity, a big one, $50,000, the same amount she had stolen from me. Emma responded within 2 hours. She was professional, excited, and clearly desperate for the money. We set up a meeting at an upscale restaurant in Beverly Hills. She suggested the place, probably thinking she needed to impress this wealthy investor. I spent the next week preparing for this meeting like it was the most important business deal of my life. I studied marketing terminology, practiced my fake backstory, and most importantly, I prepared the contract she would sign. The night before our meeting, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the little girl who used to fall asleep in my lap while I read her bedtime stories, the teenager who cried on my shoulder when boys broke her heart, the young woman who hugged me at her fake graduation ceremony. But then I remembered the empty bank accounts, the stolen identity, the way she blocked me when I needed her most. The daughter I raised was gone. The person I was meeting tomorrow was a stranger who happened to share her DNA. I arrived at the restaurant 30 minutes early and watched Emma walk in. She looked confident, polished, every inch the successful businesswoman she was pretending to be. She was wearing a dress that probably cost more than most people's car payments. My money paid for that dress. She didn't recognize me at first. I had grown out my beard, was wearing an expensive suit I rented for the occasion, and had my hair styled differently. But more than that, she wasn't expecting to see her father. In her mind, I was probably still at home, broken and defeated, wondering what happened to my money. We sat down and started talking business. Emma was good, I'll give her that. She had her pitch memorized, had fake portfolios prepared, even had references ready. If I didn't know the truth, I might have believed her myself. She told me about her company's growth, her client list, her future projections. Every word that came out of her mouth was a lie, but she delivered it with such conviction that I almost admired her creativity. Then I started asking specific questions about her business processes, her team, her office location. I watched her scramble to come up with answers, watched her confidence start to crack just slightly. After an hour of this dance, I leaned forward and said something that made her blood freeze. I said, "Emma, do you remember the last time we talked?" The look on her face was something I'll never forget. Pure terror mixed with disbelief. She tried to recover, tried to pretend she didn't know what I was talking about, but it was too late. The mask had slipped. "Dad," she whispered. "Hello, sweetheart," I said, my voice calm and steady. "We need to talk." She tried to get up, tried to leave, but I grabbed her wrist gently but firmly. "Sit down, Emma. You owe me that much." For the first time in months, my daughter was trapped in the same room with me, and she couldn't block me, couldn't change her number, couldn't run away. "How did you find me?" she asked, and I could hear the fear in her voice. "The same way I'm going to find every person you've lied to, every connection you've made with my stolen money, and every part of this fake life you've built," I told her. That's when she tried to play the victim. She started crying, telling me she was going to pay me back, that she just needed time, that she was sorry and it would never happen again. But I wasn't buying it. Not anymore. "Emma," I said, "you didn't just steal money from me. You stole 2 years of my life thinking I was supporting my daughter through college. You stole my peace of mind. You stole my ability to trust anyone ever again. And worst of all, you stole the relationship between a father and daughter that I spent 25 years building." She kept crying, kept apologizing, but I could see it in her eyes. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she got caught. "Here's what's going to happen," I told her. "You're going to sign this investment contract. You're going to take my $50,000 investment, and then you're going to find out what it feels like when someone you trust destroys your entire world." She looked at the contract, confused. "I don't understand." "You will," I said. "Read the fine print very carefully, Emma, especially the part about what happens when an investment is made under false pretenses." That's when I saw it in her eyes, the realization that her father wasn't the broken, defeated man she thought she had left behind, the understanding that she had severely underestimated who she was dealing with. She signed the contract. The contract Emma signed wasn't just an investment agreement. It was a trap that would systematically expose every lie she had built her new life on, and she had just walked right into it. You see, buried in the legal language that Emma was too desperate to read carefully were clauses that gave me the right to conduct a full audit of her business operations, financial records, client communications, office visits, employee interviews, everything. Within 72 hours of signing, I exercised those rights. I showed up at the address Emma had listed as her company headquarters. It was a Starbucks, not an office building, not a co-working space, a Starbucks. I took photos, documented everything, and added it to my growing file of evidence. Next, I started contacting her so-called clients. The testimonials on her website had phone numbers, email addresses, even LinkedIn profiles. Every single one was fake. Some were stock photos with made-up names. Others were real people who had never heard of Emma or her company. But here's where it gets really good. Emma had been using those fake client relationships to network with real business people. She had connected with venture capitalists, marketing executives, even some minor celebrities, all based on her fictional success story. I made a list of every person Emma had met, every connection she had made, every relationship she had built using my stolen money as her foundation. Then I started reaching out to them, one by one. I didn't lie to anyone. I simply introduced myself as Robert Chen, Emma Chen's father and an investor conducting due diligence on her company. I asked them about their experiences with her, their business dealings, their personal interactions. The responses were fascinating. Emma had been promising these people partnerships, investment opportunities, even romantic relationships, all based on her fake success. She had borrowed money from some of them. She had made commitments she could never keep. One guy, David, had been dating her for 3 months. She had told him she owned a marketing agency worth over $1 million. He was planning to propose because he thought he had found his successful, independent dream woman. Another contact, Sarah, had been planning to leave her job to join Emma's company as a partner. She had already given her notice at work because Emma had promised her a guaranteed salary and equity stake. A third person, Marcus, had loaned Emma $15,000 for a fake business expansion that was never going to happen. One by one, I revealed the truth to each of them. I showed them the evidence, the fake website, the non-existent office, the stolen money that funded Emma's entire lifestyle. I watched Emma's carefully constructed world crumble in real time. But I wasn't done yet. Remember that luxury condo in Beverly Hills, the one Emma was behind on rent for? I had a conversation with her landlord. Turns out Emma had signed a year-long lease promising she could afford the $6,000 monthly rent. She had even paid the first 3 months up front using my stolen money to seem more credible. I explained the situation to the landlord and provided documentation showing that the money Emma used was stolen. The landlord was furious, not just about the unpaid rent, but about being unknowingly involved in financial fraud. Emma was evicted within a week. The BMW she was driving, leased under false financial statements claiming she had a successful business with steady income. When the leasing company discovered the truth, they repossessed the car immediately. Her credit cards, the ones she had been using to maintain her lifestyle while my money ran out, all canceled when the banks discovered her income claims were fictional. But here's the part that I'm most proud of. I didn't break any laws. I didn't threaten anyone. I didn't even lie. I simply told the truth to people who deserved to know it. Emma called me from a payphone 2 weeks after signing the contract. She was crying, begging, screaming at me all at the same time. "You destroyed my life," she yelled. "No, Emma," I said calmly. "I exposed the life you built on lies. There's a difference." She told me she was homeless, that all her friends had abandoned her, that her boyfriend had broken up with her, that she couldn't get a job because word had spread through the Los Angeles marketing community about her fake credentials. "I'm your daughter," she screamed. "How could you do this to me? You stopped being my daughter the day you decided to steal from me and disappear," I told her. "What you're experiencing now is just the consequences of your own choices catching up with you." She hung up on me. But 3 days later she called again. This time her tone was different. Defeated, broken. "Dad," she whispered, "I need help." "What kind of help?" I asked. "I'm sleeping in my car. I don't have any money for food. I can't get a job because everyone thinks I'm a fraud. I have nowhere to go." For a moment, just a moment, I felt the old instinct to rescue her, to be the father who fixes everything, who forgives everything, who sacrifices everything for his child. But then I remembered the empty bank accounts, the months of systematic deception, the way she had blocked me when I needed her most. "Emma," I said, "you spent $50,000 of my money building a fake life. You convinced people to love a person who doesn't exist. You made commitments with resources you stole from your own father. This isn't something that happened to you. This is something you did." "So you're just going to let me be homeless?" she asked. "I'm going to let you experience the same feeling I had when I discovered my life savings were gone and my daughter had vanished," I told her. "The feeling of having nothing and no one to turn to. I'll pay you back," she promised. "How?" I asked. "You don't have a job, you don't have skills, you don't even have a real identity anymore. Everything you were was built on my money." That's when she said something that surprised me. "Then teach me," she said. "Teach me how to be real again." I paused. This was not the conversation I had expected to have. "What do you mean?" I asked. "I mean, I don't remember who I was before I started lying," she said. "I don't remember what it feels like to earn something honestly, to build something real, to be proud of myself for the right reasons." She was crying again, but this time it sounded different, less manipulative, more genuine. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness," she continued. "I know I don't deserve help, but I'm asking anyway because you're the only person left in the world who ever really loved me." I sat in my truck holding the phone, staring at the construction site where I had been working for the past month. Honest work, building something real, something that would last. "Emma," I said finally, "if you're serious about this, if you really want to change, then you're going to have to prove it. Not with words, but with actions." "How?" she asked. That's when I made her an offer that would change both of our lives forever. The offer I made Emma was simple, but it would test whether she was truly ready to change, or if this was just another manipulation. "You can come home," I told her, "but here are the conditions. You live in the guest room, not your old bedroom. You earn that back. You get a job, any job, and you pay me back every single dollar you stole at $50 per week. At that rate, it will take you 20 years to pay me back." She was quiet for a long time. 20 years, she finally asked. "Emma, you didn't just steal money. You stole trust. You stole the relationship we had. You stole my peace of mind. Money I can earn back in a few years. Trust takes decades to rebuild, if it can be rebuilt at all." "What else?" she asked. "No social media. Not until you have a real life worth sharing. No dating. You focus on work and rebuilding yourself, not finding someone else to manipulate. And every Sunday we sit down and you tell me the truth about what you did that week. Real truth, not the stories you're so good at telling." "And if I mess up," she asked, "then you're on your own permanently. This is your one chance, Emma, the only chance you'll ever get from me." She agreed. 3 days later, I drove to Los Angeles and found Emma sleeping in her car in a Walmart parking lot. When she got in my truck, she looked like a different person. No designer clothes, no perfect makeup, no confident smile, just a scared young woman who had finally run out of lies to tell. The drive home was 4 hours of silence. I could see her looking out the window, probably thinking about the life she had built and destroyed. I wondered if she was planning her next deception or if she was genuinely ready to change. When we got home, I showed her to the guest room. It was clean but basic. No flat-screen TV, no luxury linens, just a bed, a dresser, and a desk. "This is where you start over," I told her. The first week was hell. Emma cried constantly, complained about everything, and kept making excuses for why she couldn't find a job. I almost threw her out twice. But then something changed. I came home from work on a Friday and found Emma in the kitchen, cooking dinner. Not ordering takeout with money she didn't have, but actually cooking. She had walked to the grocery store, bought ingredients with money from odd jobs she had found around the neighborhood, and made a meal. "I remembered you used to love my spaghetti," she said quietly, "before I went to college, before everything went wrong." It was the first time in years that Emma had done something for someone else without expecting anything in return. Over the next few months, I watched my daughter slowly become a real person again. She got a job at a local diner, working the morning shift for minimum wage plus tips. She complained at first, said it was beneath her, that she had a college education, but she kept showing up. The owner, Mrs. Martinez, told me Emma was the hardest worker she had hired in years. She was always early, stayed late when needed, and treated customers with genuine kindness. Emma was discovering what it felt like to earn respect instead of faking it. Every Sunday, we had our truth sessions. At first, Emma would try to minimize things, make excuses, blame circumstances, but gradually, she started taking real responsibility. "I stole from you because I was scared of being ordinary," she admitted one Sunday. "Everyone at college seemed so successful, so confident. I felt like a failure, so I created a version of myself that wasn't." "Why didn't you just talk to me?" I asked. "Because you always made everything look so easy. You built a business, raised me alone, never seemed to doubt yourself. I was ashamed that I wasn't as strong as you." That conversation changed something between us. For the first time, I saw Emma as a human being with real fears and insecurities, not just as the daughter who had betrayed me. 6 months after Emma came home, she had saved enough money to buy a used car. Nothing fancy, just reliable transportation to get to work. She was so proud of that car because she had earned it honestly. A year later, she got promoted to assistant manager at the diner. The raise meant she could increase her weekly payments to me from $50 to $75. But more importantly, I started seeing glimpses of the daughter I thought I had lost forever. She would wait up for me when I worked late, just to make sure I got home safely. She started fixing things around the house without being asked. She even enrolled in community college, taking business classes at night to learn real skills instead of faking them. 2 years after Emma came home, she did something that surprised me. She handed me a check for $5,000. "Where did this come from?" I asked. "I've been working a second job on weekends, doing bookkeeping for small businesses. I used the skills from my real classes, not fake credentials. This is everything I've saved beyond my regular payments to you." I looked at the check, then at my daughter. "Emma, at this rate, you'll have paid me back in 10 years instead of 20. "I know," she said. "I want to pay you back as fast as possible, not because I want to get it over with, but because I want to prove to both of us that I can do it." That night, for the first time in almost 3 years, I told Emma I was proud of her. She cried, but these were different tears than the ones she had shed when her fake world collapsed. These were tears of relief, of genuine accomplishment, of a relationship slowly being rebuilt on truth instead of lies. Today, 3 years after Emma came home, she still lives in the guest room by choice. She says she's not ready for her old room yet, that she wants to earn that back too. She's paid me back $38,000 of the $50,000 she stole. More importantly, she's built a real life, with real friends, real accomplishments, and real self-respect. The Emma who stole from me and disappeared was a stranger wearing my daughter's face. The Emma who lives with me now is someone I'm genuinely proud to call my daughter. People ask me if I regret destroying her fake life so completely. The answer is no. Sometimes you have to burn everything down before you can build something real. Emma learned that the hard way, and so did I. The relationship we have now isn't the same as what we had before. It's better. It's built on truth, mutual respect, and the knowledge that we both survived the worst thing that could happen between a father and daughter. We survived each other. And if you're a parent watching this, dealing with a child who has lost their way, remember this: sometimes the greatest act of love is refusing to enable the lies that are destroying the person you care about. Sometimes you have to let them fall completely before they can learn to stand on their own. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do, but it might be the only thing that saves them, and saves your relationship with them too.